All right, today we're tackling a really interesting piece by Peter Smith. It's called Zen and the Art of Land Value Tax, and it gets into this really strange puzzle that's happening right inside the environmental movement. So, get this. There's a policy out there that proponents say could literally solve a huge chunk of what environmentalists are fighting for. You'd think they'd be all over it, right? But instead, it gets met with some serious, sometimes even angry, pushback from within the green movement. So the big question is, what on earth is going on? And this isn't just some abstract debate. The author, Peter Smith, has been right in the thick of it. He talks about being, and I'm quoting here, attacked at conferences, not by oil execs or anything, but by other well-meaning Greens. You can just feel his confusion and frustration. He's left wondering why people on his own side are so hostile to this idea. Okay, so before we can unpack that hostility, we've got to understand the policy that's causing all the fuss. Let's take a quick look at land value tax, or LVT. So what is LVT, really? Well, think about it like this. The value of a piece of land, especially in a city, doesn't come from the dirt itself, right? It comes from everything around it. The roads, the schools, the community, the whole shebang. That value is created by society, not by the owner. LVT is simply a tax on that value, the value of the location itself. Crucially, it's not a tax on your house, your business, or any improvements you make. It's all about taxing the unearned income that just comes from owning a slice of a valuable natural resource. And this is where the mystery really gets deep. I mean, look at this list of promised benefits. Proponents say it makes efficient use of resources a certainty. It's massively redistributive. It could tackle inequality and poverty, create more wildlife habitats, and boost the economy. It sounds like the ultimate win-win, a green dream come true. So you have to ask again, what's not to like? Why the pushback? Yeah, exactly. It's being sold as this perfect policy where you get a better economy and a healthier planet. You get to have your cake and eat it too. So if it's not the policy's goals that are the problem, then there's got to be something else at play here, something deeper. And that brings us to the author's big idea. He calls it the motorcycle maintenance problem. He's pulling this amazing analogy from Robert Pirsig's classic book to explain why a solution that seems so mechanical and logical gets such an emotional reaction. Okay, so in the book, there's this character who completely distrusts science and technology. He sees them as the source of all the world's problems: war, pollution, you name it. And this deep-seated distrust means he refuses to learn even the basics of how his own motorcycle works. He's afraid to even touch it. And what happens? Well, his bike is constantly breaking down on him. And this kicks off a really nasty, vicious cycle, right? You start by fearing the machine, the mechanical, scientific approach. Because you're afraid, you don't bother to understand it or use it. You neglect it. Then, because of that neglect, things go wrong. Problems get worse. And what does that do? It just proves your original point. See? You think? I told you this stuff was bad. The real issue wasn't the motorcycle. It was the rider's whole attitude. So, Peter Smith says this is exactly what's happening in the environmental movement with LVT. On one side, you have the romantic view. These are the folks who see economics as this cold, ugly, dehumanizing thing. It's part of the problem. They're like the rider who won't touch his bike. They'd rather focus on cultural change and emotional arguments. On the other side, you have the mechanistic view. These are the people who say, no, we have to understand how this economic engine works. We have to get under the hood, master the mechanics, and use that knowledge to fix the problem. So, what's the way forward? Well, the author's point isn't to ditch our ideals. It's about changing our attitude. It's about reframing economics, not as the villain, but simply as a tool. The core plea here is simple. An understanding of economics doesn't have to be ugly or dehumanizing. What if we could see past that? What if we could see the science of economics for what it could be, one of the most powerful levers we have for actually protecting the planet? And it all comes down to your mindset, your attitude. The author puts it perfectly. Just like motorcycle maintenance can feel like a dull chore, or it can be this really enlightening, rewarding thing. The same goes for economic science. It's all about how you approach it. Is it the enemy, or is it the key to finding a solution? So we're left with this one really big question to chew on. Can we actually save our planet if we're too afraid to look under the hood of the economy that's driving it? Are we going to be the rider who lets the bike break down out of fear, or the one who learns how to make it run beautifully? That's the challenge Peter Smith leaves us with.